I am here with perhaps the biggest Phillies fan outside of the United States. His name is Dave Shaw. You might know him as UK Phillies. He is the biggest, I know, fan in the UK, that's for sure. Dave, it's good to see you, my friend. And we got a big series coming up in just a couple of weeks. But before we get to that, which I know you're very excited about, and I know London is excited about, before we get to that, how did you become a Phillies fan over in England?
Well, hey, Pat, thanks for having me on. It all started in 2012, the start of some very barren years as well. I feel like I've earned my stripes. I was just in Philadelphia. I was backpacking in America, so I was in Philadelphia. It's my final port of call, and I'm a big sports fan. And I was staying there, and I got invited to a Phillies game. And at the time, I thought, baseball, never been before. I'll give it a go. As soon as I got to Citizens Bank Park, got off the Scepter, the whole complex, I was blown away. We have nothing like this back in the UK whatsoever. So the Link, Wells Fargo, Xfinity Live, Citizens Bank Park, wow. Tailgating, the smells of the tailgating, right. Playing tailgate games, just unreal. Stuff that you just can never do here. So I lived it all up, had a few drinks. I was in a great place already going into the ballpark. As soon as you walk into the ballpark, I just remember being blown away. You know, you can walk around. You can't do that in these stadiums here. You can't walk around everywhere. So being able to walk around the ballpark, the smell of bulls as soon as you walk in, the barbecue, I was like, yeah, I'm having some of that. Had some drinks. You know, I was having a great time before I even sat down. Sat down in right field. I didn't know what was going on. Didn't have a clue. I was being explained the rules. And Chase Utley, it was his first game back. It was against the Pirates. It was his first game back of the season. And the crowd goes crazy. I can see everyone rising. Utley on the back of all their shirts or their jerseys. And I'm like, so this guy's a big deal, right? And like, this guy's going to turn our season around. And sure enough, he hit a home run on his first at bat. Everyone went crazy. The place was literally shaking. I'm like, yeah, this is a bit of me right here. And it was quite a crazy game as well. The Phils wanted to lose, maybe a sign of things to come for the next few years. But I was hooked, absolutely hooked. I went home, learned all the rules, the history of Philadelphia, the history of the team, the 93 team, 2008, 1980, and just fell in love and have been going back every year since.
So is it possible then, since Philly was your last stop on your, American road trip, so to speak, that you could have, in an alternate universe, become a fan of a different team entirely if someone had given you tickets?
Really, really could have been. I've never even thought about it like that before. And honestly, yeah, it really could have been. Somebody could have taken my baseball heart before I got to Philly. But it's just all worked out so well. Like, I love Philly. Like, even when I first got to Philly,
sure, I
love sport. And everybody was saying, oh, you love Philly. It's a sport passionate city. And I got a true grip of that when I got there. It reminds me a little bit where I grew up from here in the UK, blue collar city, hardworking fat people who are sport crazy and sport. You know, the Philadelphia sports is the heart of the city. And everything just synced up beautifully, but I have never thought about it like that before. Yeah.
So now you're a fan, you're in it. You've been in it since 2012. You went through those lean years, 7 years, I guess, until Bryce came to Philly, kind of turned around the fortunes of the franchise.
Yeah.
But over these last couple of years, I'm sure you've been dying like the rest of Philadelphia with 2022, the World Series, and then last year, another playoff run. It's been such a blast. So from someone who hasn't lived it in the same way as Philadelphians, but still shares that fandom, what have the last couple of years been like for you?
Incredible. Throughout the playoff drought, everybody was saying to me when I was going to the games, just come when the Phillies get back into the postseason, because there's nothing like postseason baseball. And it got to like 2019, 2020, and I'm thinking, is this really ever going to happen? Are we ever going to get there? And then when we finally got there, going to the last two Brave series, flying out for the postseason and experiencing it firsthand has been up there with the best. I've been to so many sporting events, been very lucky, some big footy, soccer games. nothing will for me ever compare to that Rhys Hoskins bat spike and being there for that. I was a big Rhys fan anyway, still am. And just that moment and the euphoria and the pandemonium of that just euphoric moment was just unbelievable. Citizens Bank Park was shaking. I've never felt anywhere shake so much, and the noise, and then Bryce Harper's home run last year as well. That's up there as well. And it's just there's nowhere like Philadelphia in postseason baseball. I've never experienced. The whole city was on a high, and just following the team. I've lost so much sleep. My body clock's a mess. Following this team, and usually early season I try and pick and choose what games I'm going to stay up for and stuff. But the Phils are on a hot run. I can't miss it. I feel like I'm getting FOMO. I can't miss the Phils. I'm staying up stupid hours, amazing. But the roller coaster of the Phillies these last 2 years has just been unbelievable.
So then, you've been a fan since 2012, but over the last few years, I would say that UK Phillies, your Twitter account, Instagram, whatever it might be, has sort of exploded in popularity. More people are finding out, hey, there are fans across the pond. So have you gained fans or friends in real life through this process of kind of building the social media platforms?
Oh, big time. And it's probably been a bit of a life changer as well, to be honest with you. The friends I've gained, especially here, because the point of my account, one of the big points of my account is I want to grow the sport here in the UK, and I want to build the Phillies fan base. And so I try and make my account as fun and as positive as possible. I want to attract the new fans. I want to build the fan base over here in the UK and Europe. And it's gathering great pace. There is a great fandom here. It's not just me. There is a lot of Philly fans based in the UK and Europe who are just as hardy as me, who are up at all hours of the night watching the team, as well as people will find out when the Phils come to London. And the friends I've made through this account, through people here in the UK, baseball fans, bringing communities and fans together, not just Phillies fans, fans from other teams as well, that the one purpose we all have, whoever we support, is to bring up the sport here in the UK and really build it and put it on a platform like the NFL's done so well coming over here. Sure. And then Philadelphia is honestly now like a second home to me. I have a lot of friends out there that I will see now when I'm over there. And honestly, the people and the fans make me feel like, you talk to them and you interact with them so much online. When you see them there in Philadelphia, for the first time, you already feel like you're friends. And it's special. It really is special. And this account has it's changed my life quite a bit for the good.
That's amazing.
But yeah, you've been a Phils fan, you don't feel you're alone, and there's the Phils fans worldwide. In January, I put out on Twitter and on social media where every Philly fan was from across the world. I was going to pinpoint everybody on a Google map, and that took off. And just seeing Philly fans from all over the world reaching out, what in their town, from their country, pinned on the map with the P, and the map got filled from all corners of the world. And that was just so cool to do. And people when the Phils are bad, we're not suffering alone. There's sure. Loads of us out there around the world. And when the Phils are great, we're all celebrating together. And it's such a cool, amazing community and a fan base.
So you're now recruiting people, I'm sure, to become Phillies fans, some of your friends, whoever it may be, coworkers even over in the UK. But before you became a Phillies fan, did you know any baseball fans in the UK?
No, not one. Not one. It never crossed my radar at all. I'm a big sports fan, but baseball, because at the time it's always played at stupid o'clock over here. Most games start at midnight, 1 a.m. It just never really crossed my radar at all. And that trip in 2012 completely changed everything.
Who is your Premier League team? Everyone's got one, right?
Yeah. My team is Brighton and Hove Albion. So like the Phillies, it's a never-ending roller coaster ride. Brighton are a proper from ashes to the top. You know, 20 years ago, they were nearly completely out of existence. Survived in the final game of the season, nearly dropped out the Football League, and then have risen through the divisions to now the Premier League, and for the first time this season playing in Europe. So that's been one of the biggest underdog stories. But never a dull moment with my sports teams.
I was gonna say, so I'm a fair weather American, Premier League fan. And maybe around the same time, maybe a few years before you became a Phillies fan, I would say maybe around 2010, I became a Tottenham fan. And again, fair weather, like I'm not living and dying by it. I don't pretend to, but I do enjoy keeping up with Premier League. And I always thought that their story kind of lined up with the way the Phillies story was, right? Like they're always kind of there. There's a lot of heartbreak though, and they can't quite get over the hump. Would you say that the Tottenham, maybe Brighton, like they're all kind of on that same level of like the link to
Tottenham Philly is a very good comparison. It's actually used quite a bit because Tottenham have a reputation of sort of, well, getting close but not quite getting over the line. Like the year Leicester City won the Premier League, Tottenham should have won it then. Like when the Phillies should have won the World Series and was so close to winning the World Series 2 years ago. And then again last year, we fell short again. That's sort of Tottenham's mantra as well. So they're quite linked in that way. Another comparison that people like to make is with Leeds United and Newcastle, two very passionate fan bases where the football teams are the heart of the cities and the heartbeat of the cities, and the people work hard during the week and then will go see Newcastle or Leeds and they bleed their football clubs. And I see a lot of parallels with Philly and Philly sports and Newcastle and the teams like Newcastle and Leeds.
All right, so coming up is obviously a big weekend for you. Phillies-Mets, the London Series begins. You actually just went around London and shot your own, I guess, about a half-hour video.
Yeah,
all about what to expect if you're going to London for the games, what to expect in and around the stadium. What was that like to create, and what are you feeling as we get a little bit closer to this actually happening?
Yeah, the guide was really cool. I went to London twice to get it filmed, and both times it rained. So just typical British weather. But it was awesome to be invited into London Stadium itself and be given a tour around the locker rooms, which I had no idea are there all year round. The changing rooms that West Ham use during the football season, they're way too small. So MLB built the locker rooms for when the teams come over. They are huge. I'd say just as big, maybe even bigger than the Phillies locker room. It's an incredible facility. The transformation of the London Stadium is incredible. So that was really, really cool how they do all that. And yeah, I get asked a lot of questions, which I love. And if people are watching this and do have questions, please do reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions. But I just want to try and package up a sort of guide to help fans, because every time I go to Philly, the fans and the people like welcome me, and just the most hospitality is just second to none. And it's finally my turn to try and you guys are coming to town, and it's my turn to return that. So I'm trying to do as much as possible to make it as easy as possible for people coming to London. And so many are coming for the first time as well, which is what I've realized. It's like, well, London's a big city. It's a capital, it's there's so much to do. There's so much. It's such a great city as well. It's going to be quite chaotic that weekend. So I just want to try and break it down and make it as easy as possible for people and fill people in on what's going on over the weekend. It's not just the 2 games. There's so much planned that Pash Young Avenue and MLB are putting on so many events as well. So it's just like a massive festival of baseball. And the weekend itself, I'm still pinching myself. I think not till it gets to about a week before, I'm going to be like, oh, this is actually happening. The Phillies are here. It's going to be so special. I'm going to try and take it in as much as I can, more than anything else. I'm going to be in a lot of places, doing a lot of things, but just taking it all in, and hopefully sweeping the Mets would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be a nice cap on the weekend. You also got a chance to work with Chase Utley, right? Like you shot this video with him. How did that all come to be?
I know I've used the word surreal already, but that was the most surreal experience. MLB Europe reached out. They rang me and said, "Dave, are you free next week?" It was short notice. We've got an interview we'd like to do with a former Philly player. And straight away I'm thinking, please be Chase, please be Chase. And we want to do it in the back of a London Series branded cab and go around London and see the attractions. And later that evening, there'll be a big pub quiz with Mookie Wilson from the Mets and some Mets fans. And as I found out, Chase for us. And I was meant to be working. I said to work, look, this is a once in experience. You might not get it, guys, but this is a once in a lifetime experience for me. I need this next Wednesday off work. They were cool with it. Got to London, and it was the most incredible 3 hours in the taxi, showing Chase around the London attractions and talking baseball. And he is the man, the nicest guy. I was just blown away. I was quite nervous, not gonna lie. I don't often get that nervous, sure. But just before I'm about to meet Chase Utley, the taxi pulls up, my heart's racing. I'm like, okay, this is actually happening. The guy that got me into baseball, the guy that hit the home run and set everything on the way for me, and here he is. And he was just amazing, and the whole experience was incredible. Then we had the pub quiz with the Mets, Mookie Wilson and their fans, and then Chase and us and a few other MLB personalities, and it was just an incredible evening. The experiences I've had in the last few years with not just Chase, but with the Phillies themselves and how amazing they have been to me, and I'm really lucky, and I never ever take it for granted.
Hey, before I let you go, what we normally do here on the at the end of my show, the show is called A Gallen of Questions. So I carry around a gallon can. There's questions inside. We'll pull out some questions. You'll answer them the best you can. Does that work?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Dave Shaw, UK Phillies. All right, first question. Best beer to drink while watching a Phillies game? What's your go-to?
Yards.
Look at you.
If I'm in Philly, it's got to be a Yards. I was lucky enough to go to the brewery last time I was out there in October and loved it. Loved it. Yingling, of course, but I prefer Yards.
I will play a game here. Start, bench, cut. The Beatles, the Stones, Oasis. Got to start one, bench one, cut one.
Whoa. Pat, that's...
Got to put the...
That's tough. Right, Oasis are my childhood band that I grew up with.
How many Phillies jerseys do you own?
Oh, a lot. At the moment, I think I've got 6, 7.
Okay.
But Alec Boehm is my most worn jersey.
Excellent. All right. Phillies player you'd most want to have a beer with?
Brandon Marsh.
That's a good
Brandon
one,
Marsh.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Former player would be John Kruk. Current player would be Brandon Marsh, without a doubt.
Great answers. Fish and chips or cheesesteak?
Cheesesteak.
Pick one.
Cheesesteak. I don't mind fish and chips. I'm not huge on fish and chips, but give me a cheesesteak any day.
Favorite non-Philly? Do you have a favorite non-Philly baseball player?
You know what? Like, there's a lot of players I watch and respect, like Acuna, Jazz Chisholm, even the likes of Freeman with the Dodgers. Even though he was a Brave, he was just you couldn't. It was so tough to root against that guy. He's such a nice guy. He's a great player. He's a nice guy. Always smiling. Could take the banter from the Phillies fans who's on the Braves. Probably, I'd still say probably Freeman now, even though he's coming to, the twilight years of his career now. He's just a guy that every time I've watched him, he just plays the game the right way as well. I enjoy, obviously Shohei Ohtani is a superstar, and incredible. But for me, it's always, even though he used to kill us, it's Freeman.
I'd have a beer with Freddie Freeman. Why not?
I would. Yeah, his wife's British.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool. Last question. Grade the new Phillies City Connect uniform. I see you're wearing the hat right now. What do you think of the uniform?
Love the hat. I was like everybody else when the leaks first dropped. I was like, what is this? It was a straight F when I first saw it. Now the Phillies are starting to win in it, and I'm getting used to him. I'm giving it a middle of the road C. It's just the font. I still can't get over the font. But the hoodies, the t-shirts, the caps, everything else that they're bringing out for the merchandise stuff, I absolutely love. JT's catching gear, not so much. I still can't get over that. But yeah, it's growing on me, so I'd give it a C right now.
Well, Dave, it's so great to catch up with you. It was great to catch up with you. We met at the ballpark. Was that last year or was
last year? That's right. Yeah,
that was last year in the playoffs. It's great to meet you in person. Great to see you again. I know you're gonna have a blast with this London series. So, hey man, make more friends. Bring baseball to the UK. We need it.
Absolutely. And next time I'm over, I'm going to wear one of my Brock Stassi jerseys because I don't think that's on your list yet.
It's not on the list yet. Make sure you do it.
I'm going to do it.
Thanks.
I'm going to do it.
Thanks,
I was
Dave.
all aboard the Stassi train at the time, and I got his jersey. And of course, nothing ever came of it since. But I'm going to bring it over next time because I noticed it wasn't on your list.
Love it. Love it. You are a true diehard. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you, Pat. Cheers.